Who was the worst team in 2026, folks? All the major rugby competitions around the world have wrapped up their regular season. Some are well into the playoffs at this point. Super Rugby, URC, Top 14, PREM, even Japan, MLR, South Americas and whatnot. They're all wrapped up. Who had the worst of it in this most recent season? We'll go through them. Got some stats for you because there's one team in particular. Oh boy, were they suffering. And you guys can let us know your thoughts. For the four kind of major comps, Super Rugby, URC, PREM, France, I'm going to start with Zebre. I'm going to put Zebre here because I think Zebre are the best of the worst. I'm going to put them first because they're still had a bad year, but I don't think they are quite as bad as some of the other teams. Win percentage of 11%. They played their 18-game season, only got 2 wins. That is obviously not a great season. Their average margin of defeat, though, 16 points. Like, 16 points is 2 tries, 2 converted tries and then some. But trust me, it gets a lot worse than 16 points. There are other teams that would kill for 16 points. And in the overall log of the URC, they were 13 points off the next best team, the Dragons, who only, I think, won 1 more game than them, but accumulated a few draws and bonus points and whatnot. So 4 losing bonus points. I'm going to point to that as like, that's 4 games they potentially could have won. I remember Zebre losing a few at the death. They were up ahead, conceded like a 79th minute try. There were a few heartbreakers for Zebre this year. So despite the fact that they finished bottom, I don't think they are the worst team in the 2025-2026 season. Then there's these boys from Super Rugby, whose jersey I am wearing. Their last season in professional rugby, unless someone can kind of bail them out and inject some cash into them as an organization. Moana, Pasifika from Super Rugby. They actually finished with a slightly higher win percentage than Zebre because they also got 2 wins, but from a shorter Super Rugby season. So their win percentage is a little bit higher, but their average margin of defeat was a bit more. They're losing by the kind of 3 converted tries at 21. And they only managed the 1 losing bonus point loss. So more of their losses, that they weren't really close matches. They weren't kind of the edge of your seat ones where you're feeling sorry for them. They might have done it on another day. Their worst loss, I think, was 62-17 to the Chiefs, which is a little bit worse. Like Zebre had a couple of 54-19 results at the end of their season. But yeah, getting 60 points put on you is not a great look. But I'm still putting Moana as the second best of the worst because, yeah, there is worse to come. These guys whose logo, like Zebre's, I have not updated yet. Newcastle, they used to be the Falcons. They are now the Red Bulls. Initial season since takeover by Red Bull hasn't been that smooth sailing, but they have got, they've got some players signed on for next season. They finished with the same win percentage as the Zebre lads. They did manage 2 wins, including a cracking last-minute one against Sale Sharks just recently. So the win percentage is fine, but the average margin of defeat, 30 points. They were 19 points off the pace from Quins, who finished the spot above them. So further back than Moana and than Zebre from the rest of them. And they also lost 76-17 to Harlequins as well. Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest reading for the Newcastle lads. They also managed the 1 losing bonus point, similar to Moana. So not really many of their games were close, but they ain't the worst. The worst one, if you've been following the top 14, you know who I'm about to say. Montauban in the top 14. 1 win. They did manage a draw as well. But 1 win in their 26-game season. The top 14 season is bloody long. 1 win. Average margin of defeat, 33 points. So even worse than Newcastle's. They lost a match against Lyon 73-12. And there was another game against Clermont where they had 84 points put on them. They did manage like 30-odd in that game of their own, but conceded nigh on 100 points. So not the easiest season for them. That was their first season back in the top 14 after winning promotion, but it is back down to the D2 for them after this year. 22 points off the pace from Perpignan, and Perpignan were miles off the pace of the next best team as well. So, Montauban. It is a pretty awful season for them. 7 points they accumulated on the log after 26 games. Like the Zebre guys finished with 15. Moana had 9 from a much shorter season, and Newcastle had 12. 7 points. Pretty brutal stuff. So I'm giving it to Montauban for the worst team of the 2025-2026 season. Obviously, the top 14 is pretty competitive competition, but not every team is to lose. Bordeaux didn't even make the playoffs, and they won the Champions Cup, so it is a crazy league in itself. But yeah, sadly for Montauban, they were more than just a yard off the pace. For context, a few of the other leagues, the worst Japanese team was the Dynabors. They actually finished with 22% win record, and their points difference was actually only 11 in terms of their average defeat, so relatively competitive, despite the fact that that league gets a bit of stick for being kind of way too open and no defense. The MLR, Anthem, won 2 out of their 10 games. That's a 20% success rate. They only lost their average games by 14 points, so a couple of tries. And into the Super Rugby Americas, the Brazilian side, the Cobras, they won 1 match out of 14. They did have a draw as well, so they, like Montauban, only had a 1-game winning season, but they were only 2 points off the pace of the next worst team. So, yep, I'm giving it to Montauban from the top 14. Hope that was a bit of fun. The worst team in 2026. Who do you reckon it was? If you saw this on Patreon, you would have seen it a few days early. There is a Patreon link down in the description if you want to support the channel. But yeah, chatting some rugby. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.